So here we go. Let's crank this thing up. Last night, what did we talk about? We talked about you becoming the bank, right? We're talking about wealth for the next 7 days. So on day 4, last night, we talked about you becoming the bank. Why is it that the bank can build $1 billion asset off the backs of poor people? How is it that a $28 or $32 or $21 or whatever NSF fee can make the banks who are already wealthy billions of dollars, and the top 5 banks earn $5 billion in 1 year in insufficient fund fees off the backs of people who already didn't have it? How can 3 individuals, all aged 29 years old, all start with $10,000, and one will retire poor and one will retire wealthy with the same information, but one small tweak in the interest rate? Because I always tell people, I think I said this on webinar number 2, you cannot outwork interest. Interest is either going to work for you or it's going to work against you. It's the 8th wonder of the world. And when it compounds, you want it to compound in your favor. So a lot of us understand interest on our credit cards. We get it there, all right? We understand interest on a loan. We understand interest on our car note. We understand interest on our mortgage. Then why don't you get on the other side and be that person who's earning interest instead of paying interest? So last night, we talked about how to become your own bank. Now, Brian, what do you mean? What's the process to actually becoming our own bank? How do you get these high rates of return? If the bank, in our example yesterday, made $640,000 off $10,000, Brian, where in the world do I get the $10,000 from in the first place? See, that's the problem with most individuals. These webinars actually can frustrate you because you're going to be so excited about the information. My job is not to frustrate you. My job is to enlighten you. My aim is to open your eyes up in a way that you start looking at money as a strategic tool and not something that just pays the bills. But it's frustrating because here's what society does. Well, if you had $3,000 a month at compound interest over the next, 20 years, and you're getting 12% rate of return, you will be such and such. And people say, well, Brian, problem. I don't have an extra $3,000 a month, and I'm not a spring chicken. So the hell with this webinar. You're not talking to me. No, I'm talking to everybody. See, here's what you guys have to understand. It takes more than one generation to break a curse. You see? My grandparents did better than my great-grandparents. My parents did better than my parents. I aim to do better than my parents, and my son is going to do better than me. So the Beane curse, okay, of a disease we had called funds are low, right? We were all just itching, just funds are low. Just, ooh. I had to put all this lotion. My funds are low. My mom had lotion. Her funds were low. My brother had funds are low. We just spreading funds are low. But then the curse started to shift and break. And now my son doesn't know what funds are low even feels like, right? We gave him a vaccination shot for that disease. So when you suffer from tuberculosis and you suffer from funds are low, you got to say to yourself, okay, maybe I'm learning this so that not only can I turn my life around, but I may be the start of the break in the generational curse. It takes 3 years to break a generational curse, roughly. So you can be the start of it. You can be the end of it. You can be the middle of it. But whatever you do, take the information and start using it, pass it along, and then there's no interest rate that can compound more than the man upstairs and what he has in store for you. See, I don't care what math says. He created math. I don't care what interest says. I don't care what your banker says. The man upstairs has a plan. So the man upstairs might be saying to you, get on this webinar, take some notes, have an open mind, and change your financial future. Can I get an 8? Nah, don't do that. I was gonna say amen in the comments. Don't even amen right now. Type let's go. All right, while I still fight this flu bug for like 2 weeks. Type let's go so I can make sure you're still with me. Brian, I don't want to get frustrated. I would invest $3,000 a month if I had it. I would start investing if I understood the benefits and develop that long-term mentality. I would start investing if I had a lump sum. All right, so let's talk about the origin or the long-term goal so you can start taking what you need to do daily more serious. In other words, see, sometimes when you're trying to accomplish something that looks huge, you want to start at the end and work backwards. So I want you guys to write this down or in your notes. Begin with the end in mind. Okay. Anytime you start something, just they say it takes what you eat an elephant one bite at a time or whatever. I don't know why they picked the elephant. I guess because it's big, but whatever it is, you eat an elephant one bite at a time. So you want to start with anytime you have what's my man Darren Hardy of Success Magazine, the publisher, says a big, hairy, audacious goal. You want to start at the end and then work your way backwards. So today I'm going to give you guys a huge goal, but then we're going to work backwards before we go and show you how to start eating into that elephant and that goal one bite at a time. So let's start off thinking big. If you understand this, you'll start the discipline necessary to become a millionaire. Like I knew a long time ago I wanted to be a millionaire, right? People look at my success and the fact that I worked from home for 20 years. I retired when I was 22 years old, and they say, how in the world did you do it? Well, I just knew I was worth way more than my job was paying me, to be honest. And then I had a guy named Larry. They got on my nerves every day. And one day I almost slapped the hell out of Larry. So I knew a job wasn't going to be for me. And then I just knew that God had a plan bigger than me working 40 years for somebody else, and that my message and my education was worth more than what they were paying me. So I realized that early. But as my vision got bigger, so did my goals. So I want you guys to, I'm gonna give you some quick notables to write down, because my thing is mindset first, and we'll talk about money in a second. Number one, begin with the end in mind. That's important. Number two, how can I put this? The further you go, the further you can see. The further you go, the further you can see. So in other words, when I start at the end, it's going to sound frustrating because you don't have any idea how in the world you're going to get there. But when you start chipping away at your daily disciplines, now that you have a goal, then the fun begins when you see the progress. So write that down in your notes. The further you go, the further you can see. It's kind of like right now you're in darkness. No problem. What in the world is he talking about? How in the world am I going to get there? Brian, my bill's about to get cut off next month. I understand all that. Been there, done that. Had to make a decision several times. Many years ago, if I was going to pay the light bill or gas bill, because I can't pay both, right? So you got to make a decision. Flip a coin. It's either power or cold shower. I tried both. I tried no power, but I had a hot shower, hit my head, hit my knee, couldn't see, candles, crazy. Almost burnt the house down. I had a nice cold shower. I had power, but then I had a cold shower. You don't even want to know what that feels like. So I've been there where you had to make a decision. But the further I went, the further I could see. And because I had a big, hairy, audacious goal in mind, then I was able to stay disciplined. Write this down. Here's some good notes real quick. There are two kinds of discipline. Jim Rohn, the pain of discipline and the pain of regret. The pain of discipline lasts a little while. The pain of regret lasts forever. See, you're going to experience pain either way. But this is what I tell people. You in pain now. Most people are in pain now. So it's just a different kind of pain. I just made up my mind I was going to shift the pain. You know, I know what being broke feel like. That's painful. So let me see what all this more money, more problems that Biggie and everybody keep talking about. Let me get a better understanding of what the problem with money feel like. I know what the problems with brokenness feel like. Okay, so let's get on the money problems. Let's get that done. So I wanted to I made a decision right then. Okay, if Jim Rohn says there's two kinds of discipline, the pain of discipline and the pain of regret, let me go ahead and get through the pain of discipline for about 3 years. And guess what, guys? That was 20 years ago. So I had to be disciplined long enough to get through the pain. And after a while, the pain feels good. It doesn't even feel like pain anymore. See, what you guys have to understand about pain is pain lets you know you still alive. When you don't feel pain, you in trouble. I'll tell you that right now. Don't ever get in a situation where you're like, can I feel my hand? God, I hope so. You wish somebody would sting you and it hurt. Okay. As someone who has no feeling in their lower extremities or from the chest down or neck down, they wish you could prick them and feel pain. Pain means you're still alive. So as long as you're alive, man, you can accomplish something. See, but the problem is most people don't have a big goal. Most people aim at nothing and they hit it dead on the head every time. You're aiming at nothing. And guess what? Nothing just keeps showing up. You aiming at nothing and man, you hitting it. Bullseye. So what we want to do is aim big. So here's why. Let's get into the money piece. A big long-term goal for you should be to become an accredited investor. Brian, what does that mean? How in the world am I going to get to become an accredited investor? And I don't even have an investment account right now. I understand that. That's why I'm giving you the big long-term goal so that you can start chipping away at the short-term goals. The big long-term goal is to become an accredited investor. Now, everybody won't become and start doing accredited investments. But if you have a goal to at least qualify as an accredited investor, then you'll start knocking the little goals I'm about to give you out. Goal number one, establish your miniature emergency fund. Your miniature emergency fund is $3,000 cash that you can touch at any time, right? I don't care if you keep it in a nice, safe place with a lock and key and combination. I don't care if you keep it real quick in the savings account. We talked about you can't get rich at the bank. But I didn't say the bank can't at least just hold your money for a little while. That just basically means you want access to it. It's called a miniature emergency fund, and we recommend $3,000. Once you get disciplined, really, you want to have $5,000, but a good start is $3,000. Why? Because there's not a lot that $3,000 can accomplish. When you have a miniature emergency fund, then inconveniences or emergencies become inconveniences. You see, I always tell people your car goes out or your tire goes out on your car, you get a flat. If you got one car and no money, that's a major emergency. You got to get to work. I got a flat. Oh, hell. No money? Hell no. 3 cars? Inconvenience. In fact, AAA, I've done this before. Look, I don't even feel like fooling with it right now. Next day, got it towed, right? I was way up in the mountains. My transmission started slipping. I don't know if I worked it too hard or it was time for it to trip anyway. Transmission started tripping. Hey, I'll leave it up in the mountains. I get it tomorrow. I was like 200 miles away from home. Get home, got other options. Because it's just an inconvenience. It's just a car. But man, that's my only car and I got a job. We got to get my car the hell out the mountains. Sir, you don't understand. I need this car tonight. You see what I'm saying? So a miniature emergency, transmission go out, no problem. Compressor in your AC unit at home, out, no problem. Need a deductible. Somebody busted your window or whatever. Your insurance is not covering the whole thing, no problem. You know, miniature emergency, $3,000. Goal number 2, your true emergency. Your true emergency is whatever your expenses are multiplied by 6. These are the small goals that you're going to start setting so you can say to yourself, all right, I'm getting accredited. Some people call it qualified investor. Some people call it accredited investor, basically a high level investor. Doesn't mean you got to invest millions of dollars, just means you're qualified to play the big boy game. I'll explain that in a second. So goal number 2, 6 months of a true emergency. So goal number 1 is your miniature emergency, $3,000. You shouldn't, I mean, you got to go after that with an all-out massive assault. And it's going to hurt a little bit. You got to find out what disciplines you can, or what habits you can cut to help chip into that $3,000. But man, you're going to feel so much better. I mean, that's what it's for. It's for miniature emergencies. So now when something happens, you like, got it. You're not like, shit. You got it. That's what it was for. It was for things like this. Then your true emergency is in case you get a pink slip, right? You lose a loved one. You got to have your 6 months saved up in reserves in case you want to fire your boss before he fires you. You're like, cool. I can go. I'm good for 6 months. So y'all ain't bothering me no way. I already was prepared for this. I got 6 months, my mortgage, car note, whatever, daycare, whatever your expenses are multiplied by 6 in your true emergency. Goal number 3 is to establish your money management account. Your money management account. Okay. Not to be confused with the money market account at the bank. Your money management account is like your investment account. Most investments with T. Rowe Price Vanguard that you can invest in yourself range between $2,500 to $3,500 to get into. The only difference between a person who can get into those funds and a person who cannot is the ability to play. So most people can afford to open up a checking account, which is why we talked about yesterday, has negative 1% interest. Most people don't have an extra $2,500 to $3,500, so they can't get the wholesale returns from the investment banks. Everybody gets the retail returns from the retail banks. That's easy. In fact, these days, they'll put $200 in your account if you open it. They like, look, you come with us, we'll give you 200 because they know you're going to need it. And they know eventually they're going to get their 200 back in the form of their fees. So they give you 200 to open it. You really think the bank is giving you money? Or they make an investment knowing they get 400 from everybody. So with that being said, you now have the $3,000, $3,500, $2,500 to $3,500 to open up your brokerage account. Those banks have a different charter. Those investments are not backed by the FDIC. They're not insured by, repoing the car or foreclosing on the house and selling it, or, calling you with the credit card bill and bugging you and they put it on your credit. See, that's retail banking. The investment world, now you putting your money on top of something and you letting inflation make you rich. Now you're investing in blue chips. When the last time IBM went somewhere? When's the last time Amazon went somewhere? Jeff Bezos is now worth $100 billion, more than Warren Buffett, $100 billion. And Amazon is young, okay? So now you want to start investing in accounts that help those companies grow even more as they borrow your money. Now, don't you like interest? You see? So when's the last time you invested in health sciences or technology? I'm team Android. I'm team iPhone. I'm team both of them. I'm team technology that produces the chips that goes in all of your PDAs. How about that? So you can team Apple, team Android, team Samsung, team notebook, iPhone, and whatever. I'm team everybody. What about investing in a team that put the camera lenses in your phone? You see? So you start thinking different. And you're on everybody's team when you're an investor. See, what a lot of you guys think, you really think that Walmart pays its employees with the profits from Walmart. No, they don't. They have a billion dollar line of credit. You ever heard use other people's money, not yours? That's what they do. They got a $1 billion line of credit from investment companies where we take disposable income, put it in those accounts. Now, Walmart borrows money from you, okay? They want their books to stay clean. As long as the assets are higher than the liabilities, it's a profitable company. The shareholders are happy. The shareholders get nice dividends. More people invest in Walmart. The more money they have to invest, the more money they can put to make more money off other people's money. So it's a big cycle, all based on the backs of consumers, which is why you need to become a producer. See, I want to give you guys a new term tonight as we get into our main topic and close out. Become a prosumer. Write that down. I will prosume, not consume. Put that in the comments, right? Become a prosumer. A prosumer is a person that produces what they also consume. See, a lot of you guys are consumers. Get it? C-O-N, sumers. That's a con. All you do is money goes out. You shift the money to other people. You're making other people wealthy. You're making this man rich. You're making that young lady wealthy because you're a consumer. I learned a long time ago, I flipped it. I'm a prosumer. That means if I consume something, I'm also helping to produce it. So you better believe if I have an iPhone, I'm in a fund that Apple borrows from. You see? If I got a MacBook Pro, which I do, an iPhone, which I do, my son has an iPad and iPhone, I have an iPad, then shouldn't I be investing in Apple and becoming a prosumer, not just a consumer, because I'm pro wealth and most people are con wealth. Just a little theory I've been working on. So goal number 4, long, big goal that you want to start shooting for as you chip away at the first 3 goals. Now we teach you how to do this. This is important. Not on tonight's webinar, but I'm giving you concepts for the next 3 days of the 7. Now, again, I'm not a licensed financial advisor. I have an excellent financial advisor that I consult with, but we're financial educators. We teach you where to get the money before you go see that person. You see, everybody can give you a financial advisor, but what if you broke? I don't get that. You know, so we teach you, we start where your financial advisor stops. They'll give you the game plan, but we give you the money, the skills to get the money to go implement the game plan. So that's what we do. So accredited investor, here's how this works. Here's how the wealthy get wealthy. Wealthy people don't just buy stock, they create stock. You may want to hit share because here comes the boom, and it's not hard to understand. Wealthy people don't just buy stock, they also create stock. Now, I'm not saying that you should, I just gave you a great example of how if you own something, if you consume something, you should also own it, which makes you a prosumer, not just a consumer. So obviously I believe in investing, but the investment I don't want you to sleep on is becoming a business owner and increasing the value of your stock. Here's why. Everything in this country works like this, and it happens all around you, but you just don't understand it when it happens in the investment world. So let me give it to you from a standpoint of real estate. Watch. If you are in a subdivision, before you got there, that was land and trees, or any house that you have or any apartment. At some point, that was land and trees and concrete and or deer and wolves and nature. At some point, some developer took some schematics and a helicopter and an aerial shot and said, you know what? I see houses. I see major houses. I see a major subdivision. I see people moving into what is now woods, wolves, and deer. The developer took the first risk and cut in to these trees. Hopefully he didn't run into a lot of concrete, and they do all these tests and things to make sure that this land is something that he can develop. The developer had enough vision to put in lights, the curb, the concrete, and the lots, and to sell the lots. The developer a lot of times is not the builder. Sometimes he's both, but sometimes he's not. In this example, let's say he's not. So the developer had vision when there was none. Some of you guys see dilapidated property. A developer sees an empty lot that can become a new asset. Now, a builder comes in and buys the lots from the developer. Sometimes the developer will let several builders do it. Listen to me closely. I'm going somewhere before we go. So a builder will come in and say, hey, I think that subdivision is going to be awesome. It's right off the interstate or whatever. Or some people like it, like the fact that it's secluded. I understand that there's a Walmart that's going to be built 5 miles from here. There's a grocery store up the street. Oh, this is going to be awesome. A builder says, these lots are good. I'm a builder. I build lots on the developer's subdivision, in the developer subdivision. You are on phase 3. You're the consumer that comes in and says, oh my goodness, we love this house. You get a mortgage. Mr. Builder gets a paycheck. You now pay for the house because you didn't give him cash. You get a mortgage and some keys. The builder got a huge paycheck, and the developer got a big paycheck because the builder bought the lot from him in the first place, and several lots to build several homes for several consumers. Nothing wrong with a house. Don't get me wrong at all. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is the consumer got the keys and the debt. The builder and the developer got checks. So sometimes more than one builder, as you guys know, if you live in a subdivision, more than one builder is allowed to build in a subdivision. They may cap it out at 3. They may cap it out at 2. Some subdivisions don't cap it out at all. I can go in here and get a lot. Hell, I can build me a house in here. But most of the times they have, sometimes just one builder can build in here. So you are in phase 1 of this subdivision. The subdivision in the area start to grow. Phase 2, individuals come in because now phase 1 is at capacity. So they push out some more trees and build in the back. Developer gets paid more because he sells more lots. The builder gets paid even more because the builder's building bigger houses. The people in phase 1 just got their equity increase because they took the risk. Remember, it was still deer coming through the subdivision and Walmart wasn't built yet. And the vision was just that we one day would be in a nice subdivision and people will follow. So phase 2 came along and increased the equity in the purchasers of phase 1. Phase 3 came along and increased the equity of phase 2, and then phase 2 and 3 increased the equity of phase 1. So people in phase 1 are like, yes, the risk paid off. The builder is like, hell yeah. We built phase 1, people liked it. We built phase 2, people loved it. We built phase 3. And that developer who had vision like no other, he's like, I'm going to develop another one of these because now I have the vision and I know how to do it. You know who got stuck a little bit? The people in phase 3. Because the lots are full, we're at capacity. Now they didn't get stuck. They just didn't get the marginal increase that the developer definitely got. Nobody did. The builder got a marginal increase. The people in phase 1 got a marginal increase. The people in phase 2 got a marginal increase. Now the people in phase 3, they have to rely on time and money to get their equity. In other words, the longer I'm in this house, the more equity it'll build. And they'll still build some things around us, but that's not helping phase 3 as much as phase 1. I hope everyone understands that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with phase 3. We're talking about the marginal or percentage increase in equity happen with the developer, the builder, and the phase 1 people. Brian, what in the hell does this have to do with finances? I thought this is real estate. Well, true, and real estate is a real asset, but let's flip it. Build a stock as well as own a stock. When you start a company, shares of stock are issued to the equity partners. These are literally sheets of paper. Literally. You can say, you know what? I want to issue 1 million shares of stock at some point. So we're going to start our company with 1 million shares. You can say 10 million shares. You can say 10 shares. It's literally a sheet of paper and a stock certificate. It's you're printing money when you start a company. You are the developer. You had vision when there was none. Can you see where I'm going? You took the risk and said, I'm going to start a business. Now, we show you how to do it for $9.95. It just baffles me how many people don't hear what I'm saying. I've been saying this 5 nights in a row. You still thinking about it? You start a business. $9.95 with us, for example. The person that invited you, that you said in the comments, at so-and-so invited me, will show you how to get your membership. You're now exposing people to this knowledge and helping your community. But I digress. You start the process of building your business. You had vision when there was none. You said, if I build it, customers will come. If I build it, clients will come. If I build it, people will come. Doesn't matter what your business is. Ours, for example, is financial education. You expose people to us, we build your business. It's that simple. Now, once an investor says, you know what? I want to help you grow your business. Let's say your business is ABC Shop. An investor says, you know what? I'm going to give you $1 per share of ABC stock. You own 100,000 shares. You just made $100,000 because the builder said they're worth $1 a piece. He bought the stock from you and became an equity partner in your business, a business that did not exist before you because you're the developer. Brian, where you going? So the stock now has value because somebody with some money, see, all you had was a dream and some certificates. See, that's where I was. All I had was a dream in a manila folder and an LLC. One day I'm gonna be a speaker. One day people gonna listen to me. One day I'm gonna be a trainer. One day people gonna believe. And guess what? One day happened. One day happened. You see? So I was there. Now you're there. You're like, man, how much is my company worth? Nothing until someone says so who has more money than you. They believe in your vision. So now you got $100,000 that you printed because your stock or your shares are worth $1 a piece, just for example's sake. What if they're worth $10 a piece and you got 100,000 shares? You now are a millionaire because somebody said, I'm gonna give you $10 per share. And you had 10,000 shares, you see, or 100,000 shares. So you became a millionaire. Now watch where I'm going. The investment world starts to hear about your company. Accredited and qualified investors now get calls from their financial advisors. Twitter is going public. Krispy Kreme is going public. Snapchat is going public. Facebook is going public. When Wall Street starts to buy the shares of your company, that's called pre-IPO. Your shares went from $0 to $10 when the investors bought in. They went from $10 to, let's say, $30 when Wall Street bought in. Now, I'm exaggerating these numbers. They're really way less than that. In other words, Bill Gates may come in and say $2 a share. You like, shoot, Bill, as many shares as you getting? Hell yeah. Right? Because you paid nothing for the shares. So you became a billionaire when Bill Gates bought them all up. I'm just giving you an example. So you got the shares for $0 because you were the developer. Mr. Investor came in and got them for $1. Wall Street bumps it up to $3 and calls all their accredited investors who are the only people who can get in on IPO. So now that financial advisor of yours is calling you, hey, Brian, I got a tip. I got a company that's going public. IPO stands for initial public offering. Before the public hears about it, accredited investors hear about it first. Is the webinar now making sense? Where at the beginning, I told you, you got to begin anything with the end in mind. You can't get in on Twitter. You can't get in on Snapchat. Guys, there are young people right now building the next Amazon. You just won't hear about them for the next 5 years. Uber jumped on the scene, and next thing you know, your ass was in an Uber and didn't know what it was. I'm just being straight with you. Airbnb hopped on the scene. Next thing you know, you staying in somebody's house. A few years ago, that was crazy. You in somebody's car just Ubering. Like y'all not strangers. Oh, I'm sorry, the app makes you safe. Yeah, I'm safe because they can track me. But it's a new idea. Some young guy was developing that years ago. You just heard about it when you got the app and hopped your butt in the car. Then Lyft came along. You know who knew about all this stuff first? Accredited investors. Because Wall Street is, and the financial advisors, for example, in those investment firms, they talk to the accredited investors first, but you have to be qualified. Brian, how do I qualify? $250,000 a year or $1 million net worth, not including home. You see, now you're accredited. Now you're getting in on stuff that the public can't even get in on. Talk to me. You see? That, guys, I'm telling you how the game works. So accredited investors then get the stock for $3 a share. I'm making something up. Now, your bud is a millionaire because you came up with it for free. They buying up shares like crazy. You the developer. The builder, who was your first investor, got them for $1. Wall Street getting them for $3. All y'all rich. Now here come the public, non-accredited investors who are getting it in what's called the secondary market. They are phase 3. The pre-IPO was phase 1. The IPO was phase 2. The secondary market, when you see the ticker at the bottom of your screen on CNN and MSNBC and all of that, that's the secondary market. $67, $29, $104, $39. Now the hardworking man is trying to purchase his wealth. The millionaire created his wealth. And some of y'all thought this wealthathon was just gonna be me just running my mouth. Now I'm telling you what people that make 9 figures teach me. 9, not 6, not 7, not 8. 9 figures is over $100 million net worth. So now, don't get me wrong. Nothing wrong with the secondary market. Invest in those mutual funds. Invest in those stocks, because a new Amazon is on the horizon. You don't even have to wait on a new Amazon. Invest in the Amazon right now. They're doing some things that's unbelievable. Tesla is doing some things that's unbelievable. I'm not giving you stock advice. I'm not giving you stock tips. I'm not trained. I'm not qualified. Please do not take that as a recommendation. And please do not go invest irresponsibly. Get with a qualified investor, somebody with a Series 6 and Series 63 and Series whatever to help you make those investments. My point is, don't think that you got to wait on some new company to come along when the companies that you know right now of are still new. But why aren't you building your own stock while you invest in others? You have to do both. Don't just invest in stock, create stock. Become the developer who sells to the builder who issues the stock to resident phase number 1, who waits for them to flip to phase number 2. Don't only become the secondary market in phase number 3. Nothing wrong with phase 3, but do both. It's cool to buy stock, but create it too. And the way to create it is to learn about financial freedom, learn about independence.